No, the chair's at the wrong angle. Let's spin that so I can actually sit in it. My name is Multiplier. Let me tell you how I got 10 million views on YouTube. Now, this isn't a video about how to growth hack, how to make a viral video, or even how to grow a channel quickly and effectively. This is quite simply, and I repeat, this is quite simply how I did it. How I got 10 million views without a single bit of advertising. So this is 100% organic. Literally just uploading videos and letting YouTube do absolutely everything. Sponsored by me, an ebook I wrote called How I Make Money in the Music Industry. So if that looks or sounds exciting, check out the link in the description below. It's excellent. Now, some of these ideas will sound quite obvious, but that's the point. Remember, this is how I did it. It's not necessarily the most interesting or the most insightful or the most effective way to get 10 million views, but it's how I did it. I think there are 3 or 4 main ideas, and then my biggest mistake, which I'm not sure I've publicly discussed my biggest mistake on YouTube. And I finish off with a general principle or 2 on how to get views, what YouTube cares about. Let's dive in. Idea number 1, time. I've been doing this a long time. Now, I've written here 8 or so years, but I think the actual answer is 9 years or even 10 years. 10 years on YouTube, over 700 videos. Let's round down to 700 videos. That's a video or 2 a week for 8 or 9 years. 700 videos times 14,000 views equals 10 million views. That's how the maths works. Let's do another calculation. Let's say you upload 2 videos a month for a year. If you do 2 videos a month for a year, that's 24 videos. And to get 10 million views with 24 videos, you need over 400,000 views per video. 14,000 views, achievable. 400,000 views, a lot less achievable. As I say, sounds quite obvious, but it's how I did it, in case you're wondering. And don't forget that 14,000 is an average over the lifetime of a video. So it's not only the average of many videos. Some videos might end up with 2,000 views, some 200,000 views, but it's also the number of views over the lifetime as views just keep trickling in. So they get a few thousand views in the first week, but then if you look a year later, it might have 4. In fact, on average, it will have 4 or 5 times as many views, and some will have 40 times as many views. So there really is a long tail to this, again, why it's so important to start early and how I've managed to do this. I started 8 or 9 or 10 years ago. And consistency, again, which is important for 2 reasons. First of all, YouTube rewards consistency, whether it's once a month, twice a month, once a week, twice a week, once a day even. Whatever you do, if you do it consistently, YouTube likes it. And I've uploaded at least once a week, in fact on average nearly twice a week for 9 years. And again, not that insightful, but it's a part of my story. Don't worry, the more insightful comments coming in a few minutes time. But before that though, again an important point that I have to mention, I got in I'm doing the fingers today. That's what she said. I got in comparatively early. Now, I wasn't one of the first people to do music production tutorials, but I was certainly in the first bunch. No, I was in the second bunch, you might say. Yes, yeah, the second bunch. As you can imagine, 9 or 10 years ago, there were just less people making tutorials, and that made it easier to stand out, easier to get your foot in the door and build that momentum. And so you could literally have a video saying how to sound like Skrillex or how to sound like Noisier, and people would click it. Back then, there may be 4 results for how to sound like Skrillex, whereas now there are 400 or even 4,000 results. And that's honestly how I got started. I mean, go to the first few videos on my channel and you'll see this. The videos are awful. They don't even really sound like Skrillex or Noisier, but people clicked it because there are only 4 or 5 search results. Those videos have 40, 50,000 views now, and they're awful, completely awful. As I say, I wasn't one of the first making tutorials, but I certainly got in when it was much easier. If I'd started my YouTube channel now doing exactly what I did 9 years ago, it wouldn't work. Again, a simple idea, but it's how I did it. And here's where things get a bit more interesting, a bit more insightful. I was one of the first people to add personality and comedy to videos, especially music production videos. I put my face in it, big on screen. It took up nearly half the screen, my face, like this. Wow, why'd you do that, Multiplier? Why'd you put your face in the video? Because we're humans. And humans connect to humans. So even if you don't like my face, and many people probably don't like my face at this point, but even if you don't like the face, you remember it and you connect to it more than if there's no face. And that was a very conscious decision. Now it's pretty standard practice, but back then almost nobody was doing it. Some people were doing it, but they made it really small. They made their face really small on screen. But I was like, no, put my face big on screen so everyone can see it, so everyone can see my face. Look at my face, everyone. That will help you remember the idea. Humans connect to humans. I mean, yes, you don't need your face in it. If it's a great idea, screen recording's fine, but it's better if there's a human connection, if you can see the face. I mean, that's why you're looking at my face now. I could do this with a PowerPoint presentation. I could put the words on screen like a slideshow and then just do a voiceover. You'd have switched off by now. Not to mention comedy. I added whimsy and fun and lightheartedness and irreverence to the whole situation that no one had ever seen before. People had very rarely seen before. But it was inspired by High Rankin, if you're curious. Big ups High Rankin, amongst other things. And Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson. I like his whole vibe of irreverent fun. It's a very British thing. But yes, I added comedy and lightheartedness and whimsy. Wait a minute. I might, for example, in the video, start twiddling a thing, and that I might for some reason have that in the video. I'd find a way to introduce. I mean, normally there'd be a point where I was doing this in the video. I remember once I included apples, and I used apples as a metaphor. Oh, I found a connection. So maybe this is important. Some balancing. Wait, I dropped it. So as an illustration of the sort of thing I might do in a video. If I was out of breath doing this, that's not a. I need to work on my cardio. So it's definitely a balancing act, trying to balance the comedy, the entertainment, and the lightheartedness with the serious, dense information I'm trying to convey. It's definitely a balancing act, trying to balance the comedy with the balancing the education with the entertainment. It's a balancing act, which sometimes I get wrong, as I'm sure you've seen many times. It's definitely a balancing act. It's not that I'm like Harry Potter now. Definitely a balancing act, the entertainment versus education, and everyone has a preference. Some people like mostly entertainment, some people like mostly education, some like it in the middle, and it's not like one's right or wrong. It's not like, say, a 20-minute rambling video full of fun is worse than a 4-minute dense information, or vice versa. They're just different. For some people, the fun's inefficient. They just want the information as fast as possible, as dense as possible. Whereas for other people, if it's just information heavy, it's not engaging, not entertaining enough to even remember or even watch. I mean, look at Top Gear. Yes, there are facts and genuine insights in the reviews, but it's also quite clearly entertainment as well. So that probably swings quite hard on the entertainment end. I tried to get somewhere in the middle, but as I've mentioned before, as you've clearly seen in other videos, I definitely getting that wrong at times. But anyway, whether you like it or hate it, people remembered me because it was different and it was weird and lots of people didn't even get it. What's that crazy person doing, talking nonsense? I want my knowledge. I don't want sprinklings of fun and whimsy and irreverence. Give me knowledge now. Don't even look at the camera. Faces are distracting. Inject knowledge into my brain. I like the fun though, and lots of other people did too. Lots of people didn't, that's okay. But as I say, it made me memorable and it made people connect to my videos in a way they wouldn't otherwise. Partly because they saw my face. Humans connect to humans, and fun is good. I like fun. Do you like fun? I like fun. People ask me quite a lot in real life, is multiplier real? Or is it a character? Is multiplier you or are you? Who am I talking to now? It's very confusing. It's very confusing, but the answer is multiplier is me, but I'm also I'm like a squid. No, octopus. Octopuses have many arms. I have many speech patterns, energy levels. It's also a strange dynamic talking to a camera one-on-one, so you have to sort of factor that into things a little bit. In a sense though, yes, multiplier is me, albeit a version of me and a slightly higher energy version of me at times, but it is me. I should feel sorry for my girlfriend. She has to put up with me on a daily basis. She comes back home from a long day of work, works long hours, a tough job, and then she walks through the door and then imagine having to deal with a multiplier after a long day at work. It's a tough job she has. As an analogy, think of stand-up comedians. It is them, but a strange version of them, because first of all, it's one-on-one, and secondly, it's a performance of sorts. And my knee! Oh no, my hip flexor. It's an exaggerated version. It's almost like if you imagine different dials, imagine each human has a bunch of different dials. If you turn some up, some down, that's basically how people operate. And my hip flexor again. Oh, I need to do some yoga or something. And in different situations, you're turning up and down different dials, and everyone does it, but I just do it a bit more. So this is some bits are cranked with the dials down. Again, metaphors. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go on to the next insight, because that's a lot of jibber jabber. Let's focus again. Knowledge. Focus, multiply. Okay, insight, knowledge. What I did differently compared to most people at the time was I explained the why. So as I'm sure you know, I do music production tutorials. And I was finding most people would say, click this, and it makes it sound better, or click this, or turn that to there, and it sounds good. And I was like, why? Why'd you do that? That's cool, sounds great, excellent job, clicking that button, moving that to there, but why'd you do that? Oh, the sun's coming out to play. Wait, focus, multiplier. As hopefully you've seen, I tried to explain why we do things. I don't just say, click this, move that there, do this to that, because I say so. I explain why, and I try to prove things. Compared to most people, I test everything. I question why. Literally, conventional wisdom, I'll ask why and test it. Oftentimes, in fact, quite regularly, the pros get things wrong. actually mind-boggling sometimes how wrong the pros are. Compared to most people, if I make a recommendation, I explain why, I prove it to you. I don't just say things, I prove why do we do this. I test everything much more than most people, and I think that's part of the reason I've been successful with this. Take loudness, for example. I don't just tell you how loud something needs to be, I prove it to you. If I'm showing you how to make a sound, I don't just say move this here, move that there, choose this. I explain what the parameter's doing on a technical, scientific level. That's what I've always done. I suppose, again, to some people this will sound obvious, like, of course you explain why you're explaining something, but people just weren't doing this, and people still don't do this. If you look at music production tutorials, so many of them just say, move this here, do that, move this there, click that, and it's like, why? What does that do? Why did he click that? Why did he move that there? Why did he try to play with this parameter, not that parameter? What are you thinking? Rightly or wrongly, I tried to explain why we do things. In my opinion, that's how you learn. That's how you can do your own creative thing with it. So instead of just copying someone's settings, you're actually doing something new. If you know why I set a parameter here and a parameter there and chose that and chose this, you can take that idea and do something your own with it. You can make your own original thing, not just copying what I'm doing. And now let's go on to my biggest mistake on YouTube. I've already alluded to it, and let me illustrate it now. It's with this. Take, nearly dropped it on the iPad. Just gonna put that down there. Pretend I'm doing it. My biggest mistake on YouTube is being inconsistent in the balance between education and entertainment. I'll say it again. My biggest mistake on YouTube is being inconsistent with the balance between education and entertainment. As I say, it's not like there's a perfect balance, but I've been extremely inconsistent. Some of my videos have been 80-90% entertainment, whereas others 100% education. And they're completely different things, and that's confusing to people. If you subscribe to my channel because you're getting dense education, when you see the entertainment videos, you will hate them. And vice versa, if you expect entertainment but you get no entertainment, just education, it's boring and you lose interest and you don't watch. So what I should really have done is been much more, nearly smashed into the iPad. What I should have really done is be consistent, so people know what to expect, so people know what a multiply video even is. Right now, if you see a 16-minute multiply video, you just don't know what to expect. Is that going to be 60 minutes of dense education, or is it going to be, say, 2 or 3 minutes of education? Skip the 2 or 3 minutes of education and maybe 12 or 13 minutes of entertainment. You don't know. And that's what I should really, I'm trying to work on that a bit. I should really find a way to be consistent on that front. Bad. Not to mention my overall story is a bit confusing, the overall branding. See this for more information. Am I a DJ or a sound designer or something else? I've got many things I do, and it's not clear at a glance what I do. Just not clear what I do at all. So that is, again, is a sort of bundling that in with an inconsistent brand message story vibe. But if you are curious, do see the link below to my book, How I Make Money in the Music Industry. And on the page there, I have a much more full bio. You can see what I've done and what I do and all that sort of fun stuff. But as I say, that is definitely one of the biggest mistakes I've made on my YouTube channel. Right, I'm putting that on the floor. That's distraction. Focus again, multiplier. Final principles. Idea number 1, watch time. Follow the money. How does YouTube make money? They make money on advertising. How do they make more money? More advertising. How do they get more advertising? By having people watch longer. So all YouTube cares about is how many minutes of your video people are watching. The longer you get people watching, the more money YouTube makes, the more YouTube will send your video out. That's it. Whoa, just having a look in the viewfinder. The window's all mad because of the sun. We'll ignore that. That's the end of the world outside. If YouTube thinks by showing someone your video, someone will spend more time on YouTube, they'll send them your video, both on the main homepage and the suggestions, but also in search. It's as simple as that. YouTube wants people spending time on the platform, and the more you help them with that, the more they'll send out your video. And principle number 2, the final principle, discoverability. How do you get discovered? How did I get discovered? How did you discover me? Well, there are 3 main ways, in my opinion. Collaborations, search, and YouTube recommendations, whether it's the homepage or the suggested videos. However, let's keep it to the, again, that's quite obvious. Let's keep it to the principles. If you're wondering how people can discover you, it's quite simple. Be a user yourself and see how you discover somebody else. Think about it, write it down. Write down 5 names, write down the 10 names, write down the names of 10 YouTube channels you recently discovered, and literally write down, how did you discover them? Was it through search? Was it through collaborations? Was it through recommendations? Was it maybe even something else? It's quite simple. How did you last discover somebody new? And do that. Again, all of this can sound simple, but it's the way it works, and it's how I did it, how I got 10 million views on YouTube. Bibbidi boo, I think that will do. Hopefully that's been interesting, useful, and or something for your brain to ingest. Oof. Look at that, video complete. My name has been Multiplier, it still is Multiplier, it will continue to be Multiplier. I have a new project coming out in a month's time, look forward to that. It's looking sweet, sounding, oh, I've given something away. There's a whole anyway, I'll leave that as a teaser. Big new thing happening. I said it was going to happen this week. In a month. I shall now leave the room to signify narratively as a narrative device that the video is finishing. Finishing. Catch on the flippity flip.